Me and the Bees lemonade, Michaela travels across the world to encourage other kids to dream big.
What's going to make it unique?
At an event in Houston, Michaela teaches her eager audience about the fundamentals of business and finance 101.
My dream for the company is to have a even more measurable impact on the amount of kid entrepreneurs in the United States. I want to save more bees. And then I also want to have a national lemonade enterprise.
A recent $810,000 investment from current and former NFL players is helping Michaela achieve her goal.
It was important for me to help in any way I could to aid her dream.
So here's your lid.
For Michaela, it all started 8 years ago with a lemonade stand.
I got stung by 2 bees in 1 week. I was so afraid of the bees that my parents encouraged me to do some research on them. And I found out that they're dying. So I decided to create a product to help save the bees.
Her recipe for honeybee sweetened lemonade infused with flaxseed was a hit even in the Shark Tank.
I'm going to give you an offer.
It's a deal.
Turning Michaela's one-time lemonade stand into a full-fledged business.
I didn't expect it to grow as quickly as it did and be so widely received.
It went from one store in one city to over 20 states now.
Michaela's bottled lemonade now sold in 90 Wegmans and 116 Whole Food markets. Now that's the power of believing. What were you doing when you were 12 years old and 4 years old? Welcome, Michaela, again. You were with us some time ago. So proud of you. So incredibly proud of you. In over 200 stores, doing as well as you are. You're helping kids all around the country and the world. What have you learned the most?
Yeah, so I definitely learned a lot, but the thing that I learned the most is that you can't be discouraged. And so what I say is don't be discouraged by life's little things, but get back up and spread your wings.
Did you hear that? Get back up. Spread your wings like that. Mom, your dad, your brother are here. It's a real family affair now. Everybody has done things. You know, do kids, I mean, what's your passion here in wanting to help others, especially other kids?
Yeah, so I have a huge passion for teaching kids entrepreneurship because the kids today are going to be our future tomorrow.
That's right.
Yeah, and if we teach them about how to create a business based on a problem, they can create their own business like I did. And I saw that the bees were dying. They can see all the other problems and say, hey, I want to create a company.
Because we got a few problems out there. Yeah. So if you all can come up with a business like Michaela did and solve it, we really would appreciate that. Okay, so we've got these wonderful kids here. Summer for, what is it? World of Money. World of Money. It's a nonprofit that helps kids get involved in business. You have a question. What's your name first?
I'm Mariah Elliott.
And what's your question to the Michaela?
What pieces of advice would you give to children who want to start their own business? Oh, that's a good one. What pieces of advice? Well, I would say that there's, of course, a lot of pieces of advice, but like to create a business that you're passionate about. But I would say to set smart goals and plan your company. So the first one is set smart goals. So if you achieve that goal, it will motivate you to want to set another one. And so that will result in growth in your company because you're achieving all these goals. And then the next one is plan your action. So you want to make sure that you've got a budget or a business plan and that you're not doing step 8 before you do step 2. So you're like running your business at the right pace. That's what I would say to help,
prioritize like that. Make sure you work for that. That's good advice there. And you, young lady, you Microsoft, the summer camp that they help with business. What's your name and what's your question?
My name is Amira Archibald, and I was wondering, how do you balance out school, extracurricular activities, and being CEO, all while maintaining a normal childhood?
Well, a lot of people expect me all just to go to business meetings and conferences, but actually what's true is that we always find time to hang out as a family and, of course, to go to school. So I still have to do my homework and I still have to do my chores, but we do have to balance school, family, and our business.
So that you do have fun time, right, Mom, Dad? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, you make sure that you factor that all in like that. Okay, that's some great advice that you're giving. And you and your family, you have started a nonprofit. What is that about, the foundation?
So we just started Healthy Hive Foundation, which is a foundation to help save the bees and encourage kids to become entrepreneurs. So we focus on research, education, and protection. So learning about the bees and why they're dying, educating kids from a young age of how we can save them, and protecting them. So actually taking action.
Taking action. Once again, what were you doing when you were 12 years old? That is wonderful, and that you have gotten a lot of support. I know that there's some current and former NFL players in your hometown of Houston. They have
Actually, Austin.
Austin is awesome.
But I love Houston too.
Okay. I love that. Hook 'em horns.
Yes.
I'm gonna make sure I get that right. But just what's your last piece of advice for anybody who wants to start a business and go for their dream?
Well, she just said it. You have to believe in yourself. You have to go for that dream. So if you've got a company that you're putting off, know that you already have what you need the most. And so I would say just try at least to start it and see how it goes from there.
And what makes your lemonade different?
It's sweet with honey, it's got flaxseed, and I'm a social entrepreneur.
There you have it right now. And she's good here to be. Thank you, Michaela. Thank you to your family. Good luck to all of you.
Okay, I love that. Let me go back to my PowerPoint and
I
make
started Daily Harvest because I wanted to create food without compromise.
so.
That means real, nourishing food that's made from actual fruits and vegetables, not junk food. Knowing exactly where that food comes from, how it's grown, and food that's practical for our busy schedules. High quality organic ingredients are a must for our food, which is how we do things.
Sorry, I'm just trying to.
We
Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoint and let's take a look at and let's talk about the learnings from Michaela. So when we talk about entrepreneurship, and did anyone catch how old is she? Did anyone catch that? How old is she? Anyone? So she's 12 years old, right?
Yeah.
And right. And so let's think about, and who can tell me, let's see, Rachel, can you tell me one thing that you learned from the video listening to Michaela? Like what was some of the advice that she gave us or you to be in order to be a successful entrepreneur? What did she mention? Did you catch anything? What's one thing you learned from that video? What was some of the advice that she gave? Do you remember? Okay, how about Lucas? Did you catch anything? What's one thing that Michaela said that that she suggested to be that would help be a successful entrepreneur? Did you catch that? Okay, I'm getting a lot of comments here. So you're right. Plan and prioritize. Somebody also mentioned following your passion, right? That's an amazing one, right? Do something that you love to do, right? Oh, somebody mentioned setting goals. You're absolutely right. Oh, yes. Victoria, you just said you shouldn't care about what others think, just do what you love to do. And you're right. That's a great reminder, right? Because sometimes we're so concerned about somebody else or concerned about making a mistake, and it could prevent us from, being successful because that would, stop us. So you're right. Just moving forward, if we want to do something, just do it, right? I love that. Let's see, any other comments on that? Oh, what about finding and giving back? I love that Michaela actually found a way to give back and educate other entrepreneurs or potential entrepreneurs, right? So she was not only an entrepreneur, but she's also helping kids her age become an entrepreneur, right? So she's got classes and workshops on that. And so there's kind of a giving back element to what she's doing too, right? And she's sharing her knowledge. So I love that too. I actually found that that was like kind of an amazing thing, right? She's helping others be successful just like she is. Oh, building a good team with strong support. Absolutely. And it looks like Wenwei, you had mentioned that, so that's perfect. Dream big, I love that. Dream big is an important one too. So somebody said having big dreams. The other thing I found very interesting was having a plan. They mentioned that having a plan with a budget and setting SMART goals. And I love the fact that she mentioned SMART goals, so that way you can, you know, have successes along the way, right? And something specific and measurable. And so having goals is a good thing, right? So lots of learnings from Michaela, and a good reminder that even you can be an entrepreneur at your age. So let's continue on with our discussion. I love this, and it's so true. The sky is the limit, everyone. And I hope that you believe that. Okay, let's take a look at the next slide. And let's talk about, obviously, Michaela has an online, an e-commerce website where you can purchase product, all of the different types of lemonade, in addition to buying it at some of these stores that she mentioned. But let's talk about the reasons. What are some of the benefits to being an entrepreneur? Can everyone start listing things in the chat for me? What do you think? Why would you want to be an entrepreneur, or what's the benefits to being an entrepreneur? Let's start listing them. What ideas do you have? Okay, and as you post them, I'm going to share them with the group here, just in case you're not reading them. Okay, let's take a look. What ideas? Okay, obviously, Jack mentioned earning money from selling things is a great, exciting opportunity, right, for all entrepreneurs, right? Because you hope that not only do you grow your business, but you also earn money doing so. Somebody mentioned achieving your dreams, and you're absolutely right. That's a great way to, you know, if you have an idea and your business becomes a reality, you can, you know, hopefully your dreams have come true, right? And so that's a great way to make your dreams come true, is if you have an idea, you make it happen, right? And through hard work and a business plan, just like Michaela said. Oh, I love this one, Victoria. Setting an example for other people, right? When we do good in business and we make good choices and we're nice to people, and you know, and we also maybe give back, like Michaela did. She said that she set up a foundation. Those are things that now people look to her, and she set a good example. So you're absolutely right. Setting a good example is another benefit, and another way to help others and show that you're doing, you know, the community and society, you know, you're giving them some benefit. Somebody mentioned being a rich dad. Let's just say you obviously want to be in business and want to be an entrepreneur because there's potential to make money, right? And I want you to think about too, since we're talking about this, I'm sure someone has mentioned to you before or asked you the question, maybe even in school, what do you want to do when you grow up? Well, this is one option that you have, is to be an entrepreneur, right? So I want to find out if anybody here has ever considered starting their own business. And if you haven't, what other career choice have you considered? Why don't you go ahead and put that in the chat? But if you have thought about starting your own business, what was your business idea, just in general? Okay, somebody said being a teacher. Yep. Let's see. And you're right. Somebody had mentioned you can start a business at any age, and you are absolutely right. I love this one. Way you had mentioned becoming a YouTuber and having your own merchandise. That's certainly very entrepreneurial. So absolutely, that's one way. We all know that there's a lot of business potential with YouTube these days. Somebody mentioned being a designer. That's also very entrepreneurial. Airplane flying school. So question on that, you obviously could either run your own airplane, maybe pilot school, or you may be thinking about attending. I'm not sure which one, but certainly opening up a flying school or a pilot school could be, very entrepreneurial. I mean, essentially that might be your business. So that's a great one. Being a scientist. So all of these have the potential to be your own business. In fact, you may not want to work for a company. You may want to have your own business or your own company, right? Where you have your own employees. So these are all potential opportunities that many of you have already identified. But we're going to look at now, let's take a look at this. If you take a look at some of the benefits of being an entrepreneur, some of which you just mentioned, somebody mentioned following your passion. And that's really what we mean, doing what you love, right? If there's something in life that you absolutely love doing, how can you make money doing that, right? So that's kind of a challenge and a good opportunity for you to figure that out. You can also make your own schedule. So you can determine when you want to work. If you want to have your hours be 9 to 5 instead of a specific time every day, that's up to you. So entrepreneurs have that ability. You're also your own boss, and you get to work with people you like. And what do I mean by that? You get to work with people that you like. Well, imagine you selecting who your employees are, right? So if you run your own business or have your own business, then you can determine who's going to work with you on a daily basis. Maybe you're going to hire your family members, or maybe you're going to hire a really good friend of yours. But you have the luxury to do that as an entrepreneur. So that's amazing, right? To be able to determine who you're going to work with and who you're not going to work with. That's a luxury that an entrepreneur has, right? So Michaela may have her parents as part of her business, right? And so she determined that or was able to determine that because it's her business, it's her company, right? So that's kind of fun. So these are just some things I want you to think about in terms of the benefits of being an entrepreneur, right? Because you could do basically whatever you want to do. So we talked about being your own boss, pursuing your passion, making an impact in the world. Can anyone tell me in the chat, what do we mean? How did Michaela, or how is Michaela, who started the business, Me and the Bees Lemonade, how does or is Michaela making an impact in the world? Does anyone remember what she mentioned in terms of the bees? What was she trying to do? Let me look in the chat. Here, let's see. Okay, yep, she was trying to sell, she was selling lemonade. Yes, so you're right. She was not only, I love this. Victoria, you mentioned saving the bees, even though she was initially afraid of them, you're right. And then somebody also mentioned, let's see, it looks like teaching, also saving the bees, right? So she was not only teaching other people how to be an entrepreneur, but also saving the bees, right? And educating people about bees and the benefits they are and that they provide, you know, in our environment, right? So there's lots of opportunity that she has to not only benefit by having her business, but also to give back. And you're absolutely right. So that's how she's making an impact, right? And she's a good example. Somebody just mentioned she's a good example. I love that. Yep. Andrea, she was trying to save the bees. Yep, absolutely. So great. And then she's also in control of her success, right? And remember, we talked about risk. So if the business doesn't do good, isn't doing well, then she also is, that's the risk, right? But hopefully she's doing well. And so there's potential to benefit too, right? And that's what we're talking about, risk and reward when you run your own business, right? And she controls her own schedule too. Remember, she said, what did she say about business meetings? She said, what did people think, that I'm in business meetings all day? No, because she can determine, you know, the importance, and she recognizes, and I love that, about going to school, right? Doing her chores, having her family life, right? And we talked about the balance. And that's kind of a nice thing when you're an entrepreneur, is being able to balance your life, right? So I want to show you a couple things as it relates to how do you go about building a successful business? Does anyone have any idea where you might start when you think about running a business like Michaela? So what are some things that you need to start thinking about or deciding on? Why don't you go ahead and write that in the chat? Any idea that you have? How do you start a business? Let's think about that. And I'm gonna look in the chat and see what ideas people have. So what are some things you need to think about when running your own business? I bet if everyone takes a step back and thinks about Michaela's business, it all starts with an idea, right? And something that you're passionate about. Does that make sense? So we're going to take a look at a quick video here on just that very idea of starting with an idea, because that's where Michaela started, right? She didn't like bees. Her parents had her do research, and then she came up with this idea of a lemonade, and also an opportunity to help save the bees. So let's take that idea that I'm talking about, and let's dive into that concept a little bit further. Okay, so let me just quickly show you a video on starting with an idea. Okay, so let's take a look here, and let me make sure.
Described in captioned media program, in the classroom and online, dcmp.org.
Dome Ideas Incorporated presents Biz Kids, crash course on starting a business. Almost anyone can start a business, and there are 5 key steps. Christina.
Are you sure there aren't 7 steps?
Devin, I heard there were 9 steps. There are a lot of steps, but this is a crash course on starting a business. Amanda.
I don't know if we should associate the words crash and business in the same sentence.
Then how about we start with the first step, the idea.
I thought the first step was marketing.
Marketing what? The idea.
I thought the first step was to make a profit.
Profit off what? The idea.
I thought the first step was the funding.
Again, funding what? The idea.
How about a plan?
This is all part of the plan to sell the idea. Okay, so first you get the idea.
Now, any idea how we end this?
I have no idea.
We're entrepreneurs who've made millions from magic.
2 girls throw money.
I was going into middle school and I wanted magnets for my locker.
And I drew up some designs and I put them in a bottle caps, put them into my locker, and snack caps were born.
Maddie,
I don't really know how the idea necessarily came to me. I just saw a bottle cap and thought I could come up with something from it. After I'd seen such a positive response from friends, I decided that other kids out there probably would like them. And I went to my mom and I said, can I sell these? And she said, okay, well, first we need to go out to the bank. And I had saved up all my money and I withdrew $300 and my mom matched this amount and that was used to buy supplies. I just walked into the toy store and said, hi, my name's Maddie. I'm 10. I'm wondering if you wanted to sell my product. And she decided to give me a shot since I'm a kid. And turns out they actually sold. We were approached by a sales rep here in Dallas that wanted to sell snack caps for us. And now we have tons of sales reps across the country that sell to all 2,500 of our stores. We made about $10,000 in revenue our first deal. We're in the millions right now. It's kind of crazy. I never really would have thought that it would have gotten this far. I just thought maybe at the most a few local toy stores. My sister is the vice president of M3 Girl Design.
Margo.
I help Maddie come up with ideas because I really like fashion and also I know what my friends like. My favorite design is probably my dog, Annie, because I really like her a lot. And that was one of our first designs. I've got to say working with my sister is most funnest of all.
This is where our employees make snack caps every day, and this is where bottle caps turn from this into this.
A necklace.
I draw all the original artwork, and then we have employees who reproduce them. It just started off as an after-school project, and my mom, sister, and I would all make snack caps together, and now it's, I guess you could say it's kind of turned into like a snack cap empire. I think a good idea is something that you don't have and that you can't find, but that you want. Just make sure that whatever you do is your passion. My passion is art and I love to create. And so that's why I came up with snap caps, because I got to incorporate my love for art into what I do.
The described and captioned media program provides services designed to benefit students who are blind, visually impaired, deaf, hard of hearing, and
so when we're talking about okay. So when we're talking about this entrepreneurship and and the idea, which is a great example of what we just saw, you can see that they mentioned a couple things as relates to how do we come up with an idea. And you saw in that video that just looking at those young ladies that loved art, that are very creative, that's something that they are passionate about, and that is the idea or the business that they came up with these bottle caps. I mean, who would have ever known that you could start a business with simple bottle caps and some colored pens and markers and maybe some magnets? And now they're generating millions of dollars in revenue just from a simple idea. And it's something that they're passionate about and they absolutely love doing, right? And so that's what we're talking about. Businesses start with ideas, and it's a great way. So let's talk about the different elements. And I want to see, somebody mentioned understanding if there's a market for your business, and you're absolutely right. Obviously, once you come up with the idea, you can ask the question, right? Is there a market? Do we have customers for our business? But if we look at this list of questions here and the different elements of a business plan, you first come up with that idea. So my question to you is, has anyone ever come up with any idea for a business? I want to find out, I want everyone to list any brief idea of any business that they've ever considered. So let's talk about that, okay? So can everyone just list in the comments about just one idea that you may have for a business? So let's start doing that. Okay, and let's take a look at it. So we've got one person that lists a game company. Okay, this is a great segue into just kind of understanding what entrepreneurship is, and that everyone is mentioning their ideas. Selling necklaces, I love it. So somebody mentioned, yeah, selling necklaces. What's the other idea? Somebody mentioned, oh, bracelets. I love that. That's a great idea, bracelets. So these are all things, so you can see already how many people, how many participants, all of you have such great ideas. And these are things that you've already thought of. So you definitely need to consider and think more about your ideas, because these are really great. Selling artwork. Okay, we have an art fan here. We have somebody that loves to draw or maybe paint. I love it. Okay, and selling toys. Oh, and knitting clothes like scarves. I love that. That's excellent. Oh, somebody's into origami. Okay, excellent. Recyclable water bottles. Excellent. So I want you to think more about this because I appreciate everyone sharing all of their ideas. And to wrap this up, I'm going to leave you with some things to think about, okay? So I'm just going to switch to my last slide here, and I want you to think about this. Okay, here's my request. Think about your idea. What makes your idea different? Okay, so these are all the things I want you to think about. And hopefully I'll see you in another class where we can work on this in more detail. How would you grow your business? Who are your customers? Meaning what ages? Is it boys or girls? You know, male or female? How much money would you make? What are your costs? Like how much will it cost per item to make? And how much would you sell it for? Because the difference between those two is your profit. And these are just some high-level questions just to think about, but that's my ask of all of you. All those great ideas that I just read, those are amazing, and think about them in more detail, because this is the kind of thing, these are the kind of questions that you would have to outline and answer when you put together a business plan. Okay, anyway, I've really enjoyed working with all of you. You've already come up with the idea, so now you just need to expand on those ideas and begin to develop your business plan. And that's what an entrepreneur does. So thank you so much, everyone, for participating. And it looks like we need to, yeah, all these great ideas. It looks like we will be wrapping up. And I know that we have Ray that's going to be talking about Investment 101. So we're going to wrap up, and I hope to see you at another class real soon. Thanks again for your time, everyone, and hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you, Jeremy. And right now we will welcome Ray to talk about Investment 101 class. So
okay.
Would you pick? Yeah. So if you have any question, you can contact our WeChat assistant. The ID is already in the chat room. So we're gonna give like a Ray couple minutes to go on. And yeah, I'm gonna talk to Ray too.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.